Hello, this is Peter Stewart. Welcome to today's edition of the Smart Speakers Daily. The best bits from the best blogs. And this blog is actually from aboutamazon.com, written by Amazon staff themselves. We've been looking at it just ahead of Flash Briefing Friday yesterday, and it's all about what happens when you ask a question of your smart speaker device. Well, the answer comes pretty quickly, and the response obviously seems very much like how human beings respond when you ask them a question, but of course it isn't, unless you write down both the question and your response and read it back. After the device detects the wake word, what happens is this. Alexa records and sends your request. For example, it could be play whatever song, turn on the lights, order a pizza, whatever it happens to be. That request goes to the cloud. Then automatic speech recognition and natural language understanding models make sense of that request, and then it works out an appropriate response. And then comes the really tricky part. The words in that response from Alexa are just kind of generated as a string of text. And if you've learnt another language, you'll know that just reading the right words back in a sequence isn't really speech, it's communication, but it's not actually a kind of natural conversation. Making the speech sound more natural in any language, the text-to-speech part, is all about improving intonation. And that means stressing the right words, the right cadence, and in the right places. We do it without thinking. But try and... I'll come back to that in a second. We do it without thinking, but try analysing your own intonation, and you can see how hard it all really is to get it right precisely, and why it's the key to natural speech. As Alexa's text-to-speech team has discovered, it's also pretty expensive, and we'll continue with this article tomorrow. Yeah, let's just go back to that about human intonation. And if you're after a little bit more on human intonation and how we sound, well, check out another of my flash briefings. Yeah, I know, another one, another podcast. It's a daily flash briefing. It's called Get a Better Broadcast, Podcast and Video Voice. Get a Better Broadcast, Podcast and Video Voice. It's a day-by-day guide to, well, as it says on the tin, getting a better broadcast, podcast and video voice. It's all about the human voice. So been doing hundreds of these ones about voice tech. Human voice and the cadence and the rhythm and the projection and the mic technique and proper breathing and so on is the subject of another of my podcasts. It's Get a Better Broadcast, Podcast and Video Voice, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts and flash briefings. I'm Peter Stewart from London. I'm back tomorrow with more on Twitter @TweeterStewart.
Part of the Briefcast.fm network.